The punter on the football team catches the ball and puts it down the field. The height of the football in feet f of x and the time since the kick in seconds x can be modeled by the function f of x equal to negative 8x squared plus 32x plus 4. The first part is asking how high the ball is after 3 seconds. Now x determines the amount of seconds, so what this problem is asking us to do is to evaluate f of 3. And everywhere we see an x, we're just going to replace it with a 3, and then we're going to evaluate it. So negative 8 parentheses 3 squared plus 32 times 3, and we're going to add 4 at the end. I'm going to do this from left to right. So here we get a negative 8 multiplied with a 3 squared, so that's 3 times 3, giving us a total of 9. And then we're going to add 32 times 3, which is 96, and we have a plus 4. Now I'm going to do negative 8 times 9, which is negative 72. And here on the right, I'm going to combine the 96 with the 4. That totals to 100. Now finally, I'm going to do negative 72 plus 100, and that's going to give me a total of 28. So after 3 seconds, the ball was 28 feet in the air. Let's look at part B. When does the ball hit the ground? In order to address part B, when does the ball hit the ground, we have to solve for the x-intercept. That means that we're going to have to set the equation equal to 0. So here I'm going to grab negative 8x squared plus 32x plus 4 equal to 0, and now I'm going to solve for x. Now notice that my leading coefficient is not 1, so I'm going to have to divide the entire equation by this value, which is negative 8. So I'm going to begin by dividing each term here by negative 8. And then these 8s are going to cancel out, leaving me with the x squared that I want. And then 32x divided by negative 8, that's going to be negative 4. Negative 4x. 4 divided by negative 8 is going to be negative 1/2. 0 divided by negative 8 is going to be 0. If I want to solve this by completing the square, I have to move the constant to the other side. So I'm going to add 1/2 to both sides of the equation. On the left hand side, the 1/2s are going to cancel out, and now I have x squared minus 4x, and I'm going to complete the square in a few seconds. 0 plus 1/2 is 1/2, and I'm going to add that same quantity right here on the right. To complete the square, I need to get the coefficient of x. That's going to be negative 4. Divide that by 2, and then raise it to the second power. So on the right hand side, I'm going to add the same quantity. On the left, I can now factor the perfect square trinomial into its binomial squared by grabbing x and the quantity inside of parentheses. So here I get x minus 4 over 2, quantity squared equal to 1/2 plus, and then negative 4 divided by 2 is going to be negative 2. But if I raise that to the second power, I'm going to be adding a 4. Now on the right hand side, I need to combine the like terms. So the 4, I'm going to divide that by 1 so that I can combine the fractions. And as a recall, we can do that by multiplying the denominators. 2 times 1 is 2. That's going to give us the common denominator. And now to get the numerator, I'm going to cross multiply. So 1 times 1 is 1. The original operation is plus. And then 4 times 2 is 8. So here we get 8 plus 1 is 9. And then the denominator is 2. So 9 over 2. So my equation becomes x minus 4 over 2 quantity squared equal to 9 over 2. To get rid of the square, we gotta take the square root of both sides. So square root on the left and square root on the right. On the left, the square and the square root cancel out, leaving me with the x minus, and I'm gonna simplify this now. 4 divided by 2 is 2, plus or minus the square root of 9, that's gonna be 3. So I'm going to write 3, and then 2 doesn't have a perfect square, so I'm going to keep it as root 2. And to isolate x, now we're going to add both sides by 2 So the 2's are going to cancel out, and I'm going to be left with x equal to 2 plus or minus 3 root 2. Now, since I want the actual time that the ball hit the ground, I'm going to have to approximate these two values, those being 2 plus 3 root 2 and 2 minus 3 root 2. But let's use a little bit of common sense here. So since the ball is well, first it got punted into the air and now it's landing on the ground, so we need the bigger x-intercept. We don't really care about the first one since it's not even on the domain here. So we're gonna want this one, the 2 plus 3 over root 2. So using a calculator, I'm getting an approximation of about 4.1.